Yeah, it's raining. What? Take me home. This man still trying to speed. It's raining outside, y'all. He's still trying to speed. Look.
Take me home.
For real, you not about to kill me and the baby. You gonna kill no baby. Why you trying to take out? It's wet outside, baby. We could only get there so fast. You know what? I gotta become rich. I gotta buy my baby a helicopter, y'all, because he don't like stopping in lights. Nothing. He don't yell at stop signs, because baby don't go. For real, I gotta buy my baby a jet or something. He do not like to wait at these lights. He don't like to wait at the lights. He don't like to stop at stop signs. He be going around traffic. This man, he has to be stopped. Somebody got no, but no, you need a greater force than that. He has to be stopped. Somebody stop him. He has to be stopped. This is ridiculous. I'm not gonna live past 25. I'm not gonna make it. Not like this. Oh no. I might as well pray every day. Make sure I make it into heaven. Even though I do that anyways. But I don't know what I was getting myself into. I don't know what I signed up for. I drank to that. Ginger ale, that is.
Well, these lights is not working with me.
Because you need to be patient. The light ain't going to be green every time you come across it. Patience, young child. Patience.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Just to hop in, today's case will be about Markeith Lloyd. Just to hop right in, just to get started. Markeith Lloyd is a resident of Orlando, Florida. He was born on October 8th, 1975, and he does have 2 children. He grew up in a very poor environment from the very beginning of his life. There was pretty much most of his life, his parents were running the streets and doing drugs, and just honestly were extremely neglectful parents, just to say the least, honestly. Now, Markeith is a man, and he had a lot of brothers and sisters. How the scenario played out is he pretty much was like the one that was taking care of the brothers and sisters, as the parents were not really attending to them. They didn't really have money like that. Just neglectful parents, and just doing, I guess he just did what he had to do to be able to survive in the circumstances that his brother and sisters, as well as him, were in. Markeith Lloyd was able to secure a job at a local pizzeria, I believe it was, some type of like a restaurant type of place. It was a location that did have the job of being a delivery driver, which is what Markeith was at the time. On one of his delivery runs, he was kidnapped, beaten like severely, and robbed. He was eventually released, and he did go to the hospital for the injuries of that. A lot of his family was saying that this was really traumatizing for him, and it's likely that he could possibly have, I'm not saying brain damage, but it's just the amount of damage that he had on his head when this happened. It was very extensive. So they said this really, really, really traumatized him, and they think that it might have affected him in that way, potentially due to like the swelling and things like that. So that's a little bit of the background prior to this. Now, just to speak on the beautiful soul of the story, Sade Dixon. She was born January 23rd, 1992 in Utica, New York. She was a mother to a son and was pregnant at the time of the incident. Her family loved her dearly, and her friends felt the exact same way. A lot of people said she had great fashion sense, and she was actually very beautiful in person, almost like a Barbie. She loved her kids, and at the time of all of this happening, she was in the works of rebuilding her life and getting a new career and just getting things set up for a better space and more opportunities for her and her children going forward. Just to jump right into the case, on December 10th, Sade Dixon, a 24-year-old pregnant mother of two, moved back into her parents' home. She didn't really provide a lot of information as to why she moved back, but she did, and she also told her family that Marquise had bitten her during a fight, and her family said that she had to go to the doctor to get a tetanus shot. On December 13th at 9:13 p.m., she received a call from Marquise where he said he would like to talk to her. When he arrived, she did go outside, and when she went outside, they were talking for a bit. She had one brother that came home and was dropped off during the duration of them talking for this first part, and he did speak to them, and he went inside the house. She also had another brother that was inside the house as well at the time, and he was like on a computer, basically like in the front of the home, so like right where they were, but inside. And basically they were talking. Once that brother that got dropped off went inside the home, a couple moments later, Sade actually came inside of the home and went in her room and then came back out, from what her brother that was on the computer said. Once she did that, a couple moments went by, and then basically one of her brothers came outside because he had heard them speaking really loudly, and it sounded like they were arguing, basically. So that, and this is, now I'm going to give you the account of what the brother said, because there's going to be two accounts of this, because Marquise said something completely different happened. I'm only giving the account from the brother. So, like I said, they were basically arguing outside. The brother came outside. He's like, "What's going on? Are y'all okay? Like, what's the problem?" Marquise is really dismissive. I think this brother is her little brother, I believe. But he basically just he just shoos him off. He's like, "Mind your business. Go inside the house." Like, that's basically what type of energy he's giving this guy. And obviously the brother is noticing, like, okay, this is clearly not a good conversation. Y'all need to link up at another time when y'all can have a regular adult conversation. And I believe that from what the brother said, once he basically said that, and then he told his sister, like, "Hey, let's go inside." And so it's just like she agreed with him. And so they proceeded to walk towards the door to go inside the home. As they were doing that, Marquise opened fire and ambushed the sister as well as the brother, and they began to run to the door of the front of the parents' home. Based on evidence, Marquise at some point had walked all the way to where the door was and was shooting them up close, especially Sade. And basically the next thing that happens, Marquise does that and he leaves, and he's gone. They do have a neighbor that is outside at the time of this, and they do try to rush over and help. Also, at this point, her mother had came to the door, and she opened the door, obviously, to two of her kids, basically there with gunshot wounds. Once, she sees that, of course, she's trying to, help them, calling 911. There is a 911 tape. It's very sad. I don't necessarily recommend you guys listening to it, but there is one. And like I said, she was shot with her brother. Her brother did survive, but unfortunately she did not. She did receive 8 gunshots. And so basically, of course, the brother goes to the hospital. He tells what I basically just told you. Before I continue, I want to give, just for context, I want to give y'all Marquis' side of the story. What he pretty much says happened is he came to her house to talk to her about not getting an abortion. Also, in that conversation, he had obviously asked her about, there was a situation where she had basically knew that he was talking to one of his exes. and he didn't understand how she knew. And I think that based on her knowing that he was talking to one of his exes, I guess he figured out like she has access to his Facebook and can see what he's actually doing, which kind of find out, I believe that was actually the case. But yeah, so that was the situation too, because he was talking to his ex because they had stopped talking for basically like 24 hours at this point. But again, at this time, she was pregnant with his baby. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, it really doesn't matter. They're about to have a kid together. So, but yeah, so basically the shooting happens. He does take off, and there's a manhunt for him at that point. And basically what the next thing that happens is, let me see here. So, on December 14th, he was named as the suspect. Now, you know, I'm kind of on the fence with this, but from what I was hearing is when all of this happened, some people were doubting if it was actually him as the suspect, which I'm like, bro, how do y'all doubt that when the brother clearly, I mean, the brother is alive. Like, the brother clearly was saying that it was him. But, basically, when they find out that he is a suspect, they do go into his criminal record on December 15th. And it shows that he was arrested on a murder charge in 1995, but that charge was later dropped because a witness lied about key information. In 1998, he's accused of battery on a law enforcement officer, which is how he got 4 years in jail after that. Now, we're going to jump. So that was on the 15th, okay? All of this started happening on the 13th, okay? So we're at the 15th. Now, I'm going to skip through a couple days. We're going to skip through about 3 weeks. And we're going to drop right back into January 9th. And basically what happens is Marquise had a job at the time. And at his job, I guess he hadn't got paid or something along the lines of that. But he has like a niece, and then he has a boss, and then he has an ex-girlfriend. That all three of them were arrested. The boss was arrested because he basically was helping him get money early, or like get money in the middle of a national, like it's a manhunt for this guy right now. And basically his boss was saying they didn't know anything about it. They were just trying to, help them or whatever. And he also, it seems as if there was funds being transferred through the niece as well. But the police arrested all three of them, and they were charged for that. So basically, that did happen, and they were in a lot of trouble with that. So fast forward to January 9th. Obviously, 2 weeks have went by. Come to find out, I'm gonna go ahead and spoil this. Come to find out, so the reason why he was on the run for like 2 weeks and nobody knew where he was at, kind of find out he was in a bandu, or a trap house type of situation. I'm probably gonna put a picture in here so that you can see what it looked like in the place that he was at. But basically, that's what he had going on. But I'm assuming he ran out of food, probably, and water, and so he needed to go to Walmart. Now, he is such an intelligent young fella. He literally went to Walmart at 7:17 in the morning. And basically, when he went to Walmart, he had on a security shirt. He was doing his thing. He had to get him some groceries, y'all. Even though he's on the run, he got to get him some groceries. So basically, a civilian at Walmart approached Deborah Clayton. Now, when he goes into the Walmart, he does shop a little bit, and then there is a time where they actually cross paths. But Marquise he's able to make a purchase, and he's able to, go in and do everything he needed to do. But when he was leaving, and it was like he ringed up, and then Deborah ringed up shortly after that. And a civilian basically told her what they saw, that they recognized him, and they just saw him. So when that happens, Deborah Clayton, radios in on her radio that he's here, and she has to go ahead and approach him because he's, it's a really big deal right now. Like I said, he was on the FBI's most wanted list because of all of this. So basically what happens next is when she approaches him, he shoots her 9 times. And the saddest part is it looks like that the Orlando police chief, John Mina, said that officers arrived within 28 seconds of her saying she's approaching, which is so sad. But yeah, so she does, that situation does happen. And basically, okay, so he takes off, you guys, and basically it shows that at 7:26, Orange County Sheriff's Office Captain Joe Carter sees a video matching the description of Lloyd's vehicle. This officer does follow him to Royal Oaks apartment. Lloyd steps out of the car and fires 2 shots at the unmarked Ford Explorer. That officer was not harmed in that incident. But within about 3 minutes, a man calls 911 to say that someone matching Lloyd's description carjacked him at gunpoint. And he's saying that's a 2013 Volkswagen Passat. And then about 10 minutes later, it is confirmed that Miss Clayton did pass away at the hospital, unfortunately. And just a little bit on her. I just want to give so much respect because she is really, she really, she was doing her duty, man. And it's really unfortunate how this played out. But it is showing that she was a wife, a mother, and University of Central Florida alumni with a bachelor's degree in public administration and a master's degree in criminal justice. Yeah, so she was pretty much phenomenal, and it's really unfortunate this happened this way. But just to proceed, looks like about an hour and 30 minutes later, 17 Orange County schools were placed on lockdown, and they, within 30 more minutes later, they were able to determine that Lloyd is the suspect with Miss Clayton. Unfortunately, maybe 10 minutes later after that was basically disclosed, a motorcycle deputy, Norman Lewis, that was responding for a search for Markeith. He was fatally struck by a van, unfortunately, and he did pass away as well. Now, when this happened, I don't know if you guys are familiar, which I feel like this is kind of common knowledge. I'm not saying to kill anybody, right? But you have to understand, I feel like when you kill a police officer, you are more of a priority. Like, you get special treatment for them to find you. They want you bad. Like, they not, police will handle crimes, but when you do a crime against them, like against one of them, I mean, you're just an idiot, honestly. Like, and I'm not saying that police should be able to have, an avenue to harm people overtly because, they killed somebody as a police officer, but you also have to be, like, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that. You really just can't do that. So basically what ends up happening is they are trying to find him real bad. Like, they are not playing. It is serious business, okay? And basically, they just continued the manhunt. He was not found. And there were a couple homes throughout the next couple of days that they did try to search, but it ended up not being, where he was, of course. And so on June 10th, that is when his boss got arrested for a charge of accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. It's showing that Mayan helped Lloyd avoid arrest after Miss Dixon's murder in December. He said he also told authorities that Lloyd has been wearing a bulletproof vest. Also, the next day, his niece was arrested on accessory after the fact of first-degree murder and charged for transporting $200 to her uncle after Dixon's murder. Wow. There's also, they say that, so it's a third person as well, which is the ex-girlfriend that was also helping. Seems like she was helping him as well to evade police. And so what they're saying is, it looks like they're saying more than 100 places have been searched for this manhunt. They said that his clothing was found near the crime scene where he allegedly shot and killed Miss Clayton. So, and he was wearing a bulletproof vest. So also another thing. So it's showing that he was wearing a bulletproof vest when Miss Clayton approached him, and they're saying that that's what saved him in the shootout. Okay, so by January 17th, it looks like they're saying new digitally altered photo of Lloyd. After receiving tips, he may have shaved his head. And on January 17th, that's when he was officially added to U.S. Marshals 15 most wanted list. And so that is on the 17th, and that is at 7. No, let me not say that. This is on the 17th of January, and it's at 3:30 p.m. Now, 4 hours later at 7:30 p.m., what ends up happening is that they somehow get a tip on where he's at and what bandu he's at, pretty much. And they do approach it, and, you know, there is kind of, it's not a standoff. Basically, they approach it. They tell him to come out and crawl out. He does crawl out. And he crawls, like, from the door all the way to the road. Mind you guys, on, like, for this was streamed, like, live. There's a video of his arrest, and it's from an airplane, so it's kind of like, you can see everything, though. Like, you can see everything, and basically what ends up happening is he crawls all the way down, you know, and lets them arrest him. But, like I said, all of this is on video, so, like, when you look at the video, you see him crawl all the way out, they approach him, and then you see an officer literally, like, lift his foot all the way back and kicks him in the head. And you just start seeing them hitting him, kicking him, punching him, and the camera just kind of, like, zooms out. And so yeah, like, you guys feel free to go and look at that, because that is online, but it's pretty crazy. You literally see them do that. And then so what happens next, so the reason why I'm telling that, and what I was saying earlier about police, you know, potentially overly abusing you when you do something to a police officer, I mean, that's basically what happened to him. I'm not even saying I feel sorry for him, but that's basically what happened. And so they have him in custody. When there's also a interview, the interview is on video as well. You can look that up as well. It's pretty rough. When you see him on video, he is handcuffed. They said they handcuffed her. They said they handcuffed him with Mrs. Deborah's handcuffs. He's crying about having a handcuff, you know, loosen. It hurts. It's taking the circulation. And he's bleeding out, you guys. Like, he's beat to a pulp. It is very bad. Okay, if you watch that video, it was at one point he was just dripping blood out his face. Like, it just was absolutely awful. You know, I don't feel sorry for him though, but they beat him. I mean, they did him dirty, and it's all over. So, like, when he arrived at the police, they didn't take him to the hospital. They, like, talked to him first. And you'll be able to see it if you look it up. You'll be able to see like what he looked like when he arrived, and he was saying how they beat him up. And so basically, they do interrogate him for. So, dang. I don't know if this is 100% true, but it's showing that he was arrested at 7:30 p.m. January 17th. It's showing that they didn't take him to the medical hospital until 6:30 p.m. the next day. Wow. So the next thing that happens, he does make his first appearance. At his first appearance, he is cussing out the judge. He also is telling them, cause look, I mean, he's done so much damage and just so much collateral, demonic, just all of this. It just is a big chain of bad events, but he's basically trying to say, like, my family didn't help me. You need to stop messing with them. Why are you trying to mess with them? Why are you trying to blame them for them? They don't have nothing to do with it, because they were, I think they did that just to figure out where he's at, because, I mean, they were helping them, but I think they did that intentionally to possibly push him to want to go ahead and get arrested, basically. But basically that's all he's saying, and he says that he will represent himself in court. And so that's at 9 a.m. on the next day, January 19th. Now, 2:30 p.m. on January 19th, the police department released a helicopter video, and it says, which appears to show at least one officer kicking the suspect in the face. And they said that they will be investigating the officer's use of force. And it looks like on January 20th at 9 a.m., he makes a court appearance for the charges related to Mrs. Clayton. And he asks the judge for name several times and denies that he is Markeith Lloyd. And so on 5 days later, he said he's basically having another appearance for resisting arrest charge. And he says, as in prior appearances, he cussed the judge out. And he tells her, I'm here for what? Resisting arrest? And this is what happened to me? Fuck you. And he said his bond is set at $500. The next day, a judge ruled that Lloyd is competent to represent himself, but no decision is made as to whether or not he actually will. He tells the judge that he has been prohibited from making any phone calls. He also claims police knocked his eye out, which I'm gonna be honest, they absolutely 100% did. So pretty much his injuries were horrible. I mean, if you go look at it, it's the worst thing ever. And so pretty much the injuries he has, basically they're so bad, and also it looks like they made him wait for a very long time to go to the hospital. I mean, he basically, it ain't no basically about it, he lost his eye. Okay, one of his eyes is gone now, period, from that incident. So from that incident, when he got arrested until forever, obviously, he now don't have one of his eyes because of how they were kicking him in the face and like all that stuff. But to go next, yeah, okay, so like within the next day, not even the next day, on January 26th, the niece bonds out of jail, and the boss tries to get their bond lowered because the niece was able to bond out of jail. And it looks like the next thing that happens on the 29th, he appears in court after refusing to show up the day before on a new set of charges that were filed in connection to an incident in August. The boss's request to lower the bond was denied. And And also his ex-girlfriend, her bond was lowered, but she's not supposed to have any contact with either of the other people that were charged in the case. On February 7th, it says the state attorney announces that formal charges will not be filed against the niece that was accused of helping him avoid capture. On February 7th, the boss does have his bond lowered significantly. It was $400,000, now it's $20,000. And it looks like it says he must stay in the state and not have contact with any of the other defendants. And within a day, he does leave out of jail. So on the 22nd, Lloyd appears in court for an arraignment. He gave the judge a handwritten letter asking for a copy of the charges against him. The judge set a hearing for March 1st. On March 1st, a judge enters a not guilty plea on Lloyd's behalf. And it looks like they set a trial for May 1st for the Dixon case, and then June 19th for the Clayton case. And it looks like initially Arimas Ayala announced that her office would not pursue the death penalty while prosecuting Lloyd. The move prompted the government. No, the news prompted the governor, Rick Scott, to ask them to recuse herself from the case. Oh, it looks like the governor issues an executive order to remove her off the case and reassigned it to 5th Judicial Circuit State Attorney Brad King. His statement was, "These families deserve a state attorney who will aggressively prosecute Markeith Lloyd to the fullest extent of the law, and justice must be served." 4 days later, he does appear in court again. And Mrs. Ayala, I believe this is a woman, I'm not 100%, but Ayala came to the hearing and told the judge, well, yeah, it is a girl. So told the judge she intended to file motions so that she could stay on the case. On 8 days later, the judge rules that the other person will be on the case and Ayala has to remove from the case. And Lloyd made a comment that Scott seeks revenge and not justice. Looks like Lloyd said in court that he wants attorney Terrence Linneman to represent him in his murder cases. And he looks like he's a paid capital litigation lawyer. The judge scheduled a hearing on April 12th to see if he will allow Lloyd to pick his own court-appointed counsel. 7 days later, well, 5 days later, actually. No, I'm wrong. 9 days later, the judge does not appoint this attorney to Lloyd to represent him in the murder cases. And Lloyd agrees to have standby counsel Roger Whedon to represent him. And he waives his right to a speedy trial. Now, just to get to the basics of this, because that's pretty much it with this situation, which is so crazy, you guys. So basically on October 23rd, 2019, Markeith Lloyd was sentenced to life in prison. A Florida jury unanimously voted not to recommend the death penalty for him. He was convicted of first-degree murder of an unborn child, and attempted first-degree murder, along with 2 counts of attempted felony murder. So that's what we have going on there. And pretty much just a couple highlights. Now I don't feel sorry for this person, so please don't get it twisted, because I really don't, honestly, knowing all the facts in the case. It's impossible for me to have sympathy for him. But basically, how do y'all feel about them beating him up and stuff? Like, I mean, I'm not saying to go around killing police, but it's crazy how they can use extra force and stuff. Like, that's just unsafe, because, like, what if they have a feeling for... I mean, it's common knowledge. I'm not going to kill no cop, because I already know what that's about. But if somebody kills a cop, that don't make you have ultimate authority to overly... You know what I'm saying? Let justice do justice. Why are you trying to do stuff and then it's on video? And I feel like when you do stuff like that, you make other people feel like you're going to do that to everybody, or you're just someone that feels like you're above the law. I get that he killed basically 2 women. It's absolutely disgusting and awful. But that was also something to discuss, that, you know, they brutalized. You know, just if y'all watch the video, y'all gonna see, like, it's absolutely horrible. And y'all know that police officers and all those types of people, do y'all know they be wearing them thick shoes? Come on now. I don't feel sorry for him. It's just a little bit weird how that situation went about. But he no longer has an eye. And I'll put some up-to-date photos of him. Also, like I said, he had 2 kids. His son with the same name as him has now been arrested as well, from what I'm hearing. So that's horrible. And yeah, tell me what you guys think. This is a crazy case. It is completely nuts. Okay. And it's just crazy. It honestly is so crazy. I'm really lost for words, and I just wish, you know, I pray for love and healing and growth within her family and her brother as well. I know that's absolutely the worst. That is the worst thing, like, a person can really go through. Like, it's absolutely horrible. But yeah, definitely let me know on what you guys think in the comments. And yeah, I think that's about it. But yeah, you guys have a lovely rest of your day. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.